In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6XX, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger and El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progrès, and Luiso Americano newspapers, and by distribution to administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of this meeting notice was forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular advisory board meeting, Tuesday, November 30th, 2010. Mr. Jeffries.
Here.
Ms. King.
Here.
Mr. Lamort. Here. Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Ms. Pintor. I know she's here.
She is here.
Yeah. Mr. Rivera. Ms. Romero. Ms. Davis Spate. Ms. White.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We welcome all who are here to our advisory board meeting. We will begin with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will begin with greetings from University High School.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. McNair. I'm the principal of University High School. I'm going to have our, thank you. I'm going to have my parent teacher, PTSO representative, welcome you and greet you to our school.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ms. Bell, PTA president here. Welcome to our very humble abode. We are very excited to host tonight's advisory board meeting. We are so fortunate here because we have some of the best students in our midst. That's right. They truly are the cream of the crop, and we all know that cream rises to the top. However, this would not be possible without our strong parental involvement. We have an awesome staff, our esteemed principal, great administration. So with that being said, we thank you all so much for coming out and availing yourselves, because I am certain this evening will promise to be a very fruitful discussion. Thank you.
I have a couple of musical selections for you for your enjoyment this evening. Hopefully you enjoyed the musical stylings of our band and our pianists as they played while you were waiting. But before that, I would like to welcome Dr. Janey, Chairperson Jeffries, all the members of the advisory board, members of my community, our parents, students, staff, especially my students who are offering their time to be here with us this evening. I want to say welcome to our school, and I hope you enjoyed the events of this evening. So first, before we begin, I would like Jasmine Burton to sing the national anthem for us. Come on, Jasmine, let's go.
Father
Thank you, Jasmine. Now that you've got us ready for kickoff, I'm going to have Mr. Lawson. He's going to direct our chorus in 2 brief pieces. 3? 3, okay. Keep it brief, Mr. Lawson. Once again, thank you, Mr. Lawson. Thank you, students, for making our mood a little bit more festive. Once again, welcome everyone, and thank you for attending our meeting this evening.
Round of applause, please, for our young people from University High School. In my report, I just want to highlight a couple things that are on the agenda that we'll be talking about later. One is when we get to the voting portion of the agenda, the board will be voting on the district performance review assessments that'll be sent to the county, ultimately finalized by the state with respect to the district score under the NJQSAC rating system. And that's the methodology by which local control ultimately will be determined. So that's a very important set of decisions that'll be coming up over the next several weeks. We'll speak more about that a little bit later, but I want to highlight that. That's a very important vote that we'll be making tonight. And also we have a vote on a board procedures manual so that our board can have a set of practices and principles that guide how we do our work consistent with best practice in the field. So those are two things I want to highlight that we'll be talking about later on in the agenda. With that said, I'll turn things over to Dr. Janey for his report. She didn't.
Has a recognition for one of the cancers. Yeah. You want to announce that? We'll have Mr. McNeil is his name.
Okay, the principal, he'll introduce. If we can have, before going into the superintendent's report, if we can have Principal McNair acknowledge a young 12th grader here from university who's going to bless us with a performance on the piano. Her name is Hassana Smith, and we're very excited to see her do her thing on the piano. That's it.
Please forgive me, I was congratulating my students. I do apologize. Hassana Smith, she played during the wait.
Oh, we're sorry, Mr. McNair. We thought she was going to do a solo also, so we're sorry about that. We thought we were going to get even more from Ms. Smith, but we're blessed to get what we did get from her. So thank you very much, Mr. McNair. Thank you. Dr. Janey.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Let me thank on behalf of the parents and students and staff members of University High School how great you've been performing over a long period of time. This school has been acknowledged for a number of national distinctive awards, one of which is for its community service. It has been honored by an organization called The League for the most outstanding urban high school in the country for its effort in community service. And as you know, students from University High School attend Ivy League colleges and universities, as well as select universities and colleges. And just in the school year 2008-2009, as I remember, she's now an alumna of University High School. First name was Judith. She's at Harvard College, excuse me. She's an undergraduate at Harvard College, and I believe the salutatorium, she went to Boston College. She too was from Nigeria. They left a very heavy footprint of scholarship here at University High School, and they are just a few examples of the work that's being done here. And so, Mr. McNair, having completed 70 days or so in your first year as principal, but welcome back home to University High School. Tonight, we're going to have my report in two parts. I'll introduce the first aspect of this report, and it is to inform the public as to how we will proceed with a new way of allocating monies to schools. We will do it with a real weighted student formula. So the dollars will follow the student. It won't be based on how many staff members you have, but rather how many students you have and what types of students you may have with respect to their abilities. So instead of just having a formula that has a one-size-all allocation per student, it will take into consideration whether or not a school has students with disabilities and different kinds of disabilities. So the weight would be added to the formula, and we would do so with schools that are challenged in some respects by students who have not acquired English as their second language. We will take that into consideration with the student formula and proceed. So I'm going to ask Ms. Wilson, Ms. Valerie Wilson, our business administrator, to share with you some highlights of the student-weighted formula that will be introduced for this upcoming academic year. And the budget year will be beginning July 1st of 2011. Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Dr. Janey. Chairman Jeffries, Vice Chair King, Dr. Janey, advisory board members, community. As Dr. Janey indicated, I'm going to give you a very brief overview of the weighted student formula, which we will be using this year as part of our budget process. What we wanted to do was to ensure that by using a weighted student formula, we would provide equity across the district to all schools. So the weighted student formula was actually pioneered in Canada in 1976, and what it does is, as the superintendent indicated, allows money to follow students to schools they choose while guaranteeing that schools that have harder to educate populations, such as low-income students, language learners, or low achievers, get more funds. It's been implemented in several states around the country. More specifically, it is fully implemented in Hawaii, but we see that it's also in New York, Boston, Cincinnati, Houston. The weighted student formula is more successful when it is implemented with school-based decision-making. With the weighted student formula, each school receives a budget denominated in dollars instead of positions and decides what staff or non-staff items they will purchase. The district determines the core staffing, and principals are given more control over their budgets. Here we have an example of weighted student formula. You will see that this school is an elementary school and middle school, so that means it goes through grades K through 8. We have 645 students in the school. Each child in the school brings with them a pot of $7,400. Each elementary, K through 5, brings, and they have 525 of those, brings an additional $600. And each middle school student, of which they have 120, brings $700 for a total of $5,172,000. So understand, an elementary student who is in K through 5 actually has a value of $8,000, $7,400 plus the $600. If we have special ed students in the school, if we have LLD students, there are 50, they bring $8,600 apiece. If they are BD, there are 25. They bring $9,000 apiece. This is different than the state formula. In the state formula, we see that the weighting is done globally for special ed, and different categories within the special ed population have additional costs that may make them more expensive to educate. So we wanted to give credence to that and allow schools to have the benefit of the dollars associated with that. Their at-risk population, they were very good with their lunch apps, so they got all of their children in for free and reduced. They're in a high poverty area, so there are 645 of those. They bring an additional $660. And their limited English proficiency students, 30 of which they have, bring an additional $850. Remember that each of these categories adds to that base amount of $7,400. Their total budget is $6,280,000. We see that each student, as I said before, is allocated a base amount, and it is based on a per pupil formula. The district determines the core staffing, and principals determine what they will purchase. Each school is charged an average salary for teacher salaries. Average salaries ignore the differences in salaries. We have many of our teacher population that have been with us for a long time. They are at the higher levels of the salary grade. If we were to use an average salary that reflects a brand new teacher, we would be shorting ourselves and probably put us in a deficit situation. So you've got to average out both your more mature population along with your novice teachers. Schools are provided with the cost for non-staff items. All of this will be done this year. What does the student formula do? It brings transparency to school financing, allocates funding per pupil, provides equity in funding, allows the funding to follow the student from one school to the other, provides autonomy at the school level, provides parents with school choice, and decentralizes decision-making. We make it very simple for parents and the public to understand how much money is in the school and what it is to be used for. It gives parents and teachers a voice into how the money should be spent. The dollars follow the student. It levels the playing field for each school, and principals gain greater autonomy. And we go on to talk about the success of the weighted student formula. In Edmonton, 90% of the children read at or above grade level. Houston outperforms Los Angeles by 10 points at every grade level on the Stanford Achievement Test since moving to the weighted student formula, while Seattle also outperforms Chicago on the Iowa Test of Basic Skills, the standardized test that those systems use. When you give principals more money, and not more money, excuse me, I could not make that slip. There will not be more money. When we give principals more freedom with what they can do with their money, we see that they reduce the hiring of administrative staff at the school and increase the number of classroom teachers. And they use their freedom over curriculum, schedule, and staffing to further reduce total student load. And our goal here is to ensure that more of our dollars go to the classroom. Dr. Auchi of UCLA's Anderson School of Management found that decentralized public school districts and private Catholic schools had significantly less fraud, less centralized bureaucracy and staff, more money at the classroom level, and higher student achievement. Dr. Janey, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. We have someone special in the audience this evening who wishes to do probably a couple of things, one of which will be to remind us that we were graced with our First Lady's presence here in Newark just over a week ago. And it was because there was a launch nationally for a movement to reduce childhood obesity on one side and create healthy opportunities for greater access to good foods with nutrition on the other side. It's being led by one of the leaders in the city, Deputy Mayor Munoz. Would you come forward, please? And that historic event was held at Maple Avenue School in the South Ward of the city.
Good evening, and thank you so much for allowing me these moments to make a brief presentation on Let's Move Newark. distinguished Dr. Janey, distinguished members of the Newark Board, Newark Advisory Board, and of course our distinguished public. My name is Margarita Muñiz. I'm Deputy Mayor of Neighborhood Engagement for the Honorable Cory A. Booker. On November 18th, I woke up to a glorious morning where I recognized that we, as children of immigrants, children who were born in poor environments, and children who always look toward the American dream, were given the opportunity to meet, touch, and feel First Lady Michelle Obama. It was a historical moment here in Newark, New Jersey, but nonetheless, it was a moment that needed to happen because the children of Newark, New Jersey, especially the children at Maple Avenue School, and everyone under the leadership of Principal Washington, they're absolutely doing wonderful things. So I want to talk a little bit about how the Let's Move campaign came here to the city of Newark, New Jersey. As you know, Mayor Booker is the co-chair to First Lady Michelle Obama's Let's Move national campaign. As his deputy mayor, I have the pleasure and the privilege of doing everything Let's Move Newark here within the administration. And so very early on, Mayor Booker created the Newark Youth Policy Board together with the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General. And through the Newark Youth Policy Board, I was appointed co-chair. We work on 3 different priorities, but one of the priorities of the Newark Youth Policy Board is childhood obesity. So it worked out perfectly that we should be really focusing on what we do around childhood obesity, but in a very, very wide brushstroke method. So we're looking at the 4 pillars of First Lady Michelle Obama's campaign: empowering parents and caregivers, providing healthy food in schools, improving access to healthy, affordable foods, and increasing physical activity. Here in Newark, and under the leadership of Mayor Cory A. Booker, we are looking at childhood obesity under 6 different elements: needs assessment, physical activity, law and policy, health care and health disparities, education and community outreach, and food systems. And so when we look at our childhood obesity situation here in the city of Newark, we need to pull in all the partners and make sure that we are doing this in a very, very collaborative, collective spirit, because we have the resource, the intelligence, and the human capital amongst all of our leadership here in the city of Newark. Within the schools, it's the perfect environment because we have not only the administration, but we also have the wonderful principals and leaderships in the individual schools that are taking care of our children on a daily basis. And I say that with much passion because my 2 grandchildren attend Branch Brook School, and there's just great things happening in all of our schools. We're also looking forward to working hand in hand with the school system as we go forward to make sure that anything that happens in the city of Newark under the Let's Move campaign is happening hand in hand with the school system, with the leadership of Dr. Janey and this distinguished board. You should have a blue folder before you, members of the board and Dr. Janey. And the first item on the left-hand side is a message from the superintendent that was drafted back in September, really promoting and endorsing what's happening with the Let's Move national campaign and how we can bring it here to the city of Newark. In chronological order, you will find the press release for the city's launching October 20th of Let's Move Newark, and then the press release for the November 18th visit of First Lady Michelle Obama. But what I want to bring to your attention are 3 different elements that are on the right-hand side of your package. You have an overview of my childhood obesity action plan put together with my community leaders and community partners. And this is what went to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It went to national. This is just an overview. It's a 4-page overview from a 20-page narrative and 20-page grid that followed it, which was a total of 40 in my presentation to national. But you also have there several documents that talk about how schools can make healthier choices and really provide healthier lifestyles to not only our students but their families. So you're seeing a Healthy School Challenge, information on Healthier U.S. School Challenge. And we know that Maple Avenue School signed up for the Healthy U.S. School Challenge, and Dr. Janey, we are so hopeful that many other schools will follow. I will be your assistant for whatever you need for Let's Move Newark. You will see on the page that follows, it's the specs on a salad bar that was donated to the Maple Avenue School because of the great work that they're doing, from Kids Fit to Growing Minds and all the rest of their physical activity and nutritional information. We also want to make mention that there's a program called Chefs Move to raise a healthier generation of kids. And we've already received the commitment of a professional chef from from Newark, Beth Israel, who will adopt Maple Avenue School to make sure that we have professional support, additional to school support, but so that there are more community partners in the Let's Move campaign. So I'm strictly here to say this is all about Let's Move. We have a lot of partners. We want the Newark Board of Education Advisory Board to know what we're doing. We want to be here to answer any questions and to work in conjunction to continue to put our children, our principals, our staff, our parents, and our families on the national landscape, because wonderful things are happening here in Newark, New Jersey. Dr. Janey has mentioned one already, and many, many more have not been mentioned. So with that being said, I have concluded my presentation of Let's Move Newark, and I look forward to a very strong, passionate, aggressive, and strategic partnership as we move our children and families towards a healthier generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Muniz. Dr. Janey, you have anything more in your report?
Yes, I'll conclude by introducing Chief Academic Officer Sadia White, who will update the public through the Board of Education as to the steps being taken to ensure that we have a handle on this year's graduating class, to make sure we know how many and specifically which students are in a position to graduate, knowing that they have sufficient credits, they've got the kind of attendance and the support that they need as we go forward. So we'll be conducting transcript audits of all of the high schools as we're at the very beginning of the second marking period. So let me turn it over to Ms. White.
Thank you, Dr. Janey. Good evening, Board Chair Jeffries, board members, and members of the community. As Dr. Janey shared, we are embarking upon a campaign that will begin tomorrow to begin our senior class transcript audit that will be completed before the Christmas holidays to see where our students stand in terms of being ready to graduate and what they would need if they are that close to graduation and missing the credits for that. In addition, we are also going to do a review of our 6th grade report cards to look at 4 areas. 1, the math grades distribution. Secondly, the literacy and language art grade distribution, also looking at the attendance for our 6th grade students, and also the suspension rates. As you know, that those are the areas that will determine success in high school. And so we will be embarking on that campaign as well, beginning tomorrow. I will also give 3 reports. First, a final report on our new curriculum rollout and where we are to date. As you know, we have embarked on a curriculum writing campaign during the summer based on spring and winter surveys at our schools and doing an audit of our curriculum. It has been shared with you that there has been some content area that has not had a curriculum review since 1999, and there are some content areas that had not had a curriculum period. This is the final report. For mathematics and algebra 1, the curriculum update and rollout has been completed and should have been in full implementation since September the 2nd. We've also had curriculum writing and updates in the following content areas: visual and performing arts, grades 4 through 8, health, safety, and physical education, and health education, science, kindergarten and grade 7, environmental science and biology, social studies, multicultural education, world history, financial literacy, which is a pilot this year, and the Amistad Commission under social studies, Holocaust and genocide studies, and bilingual education. Those that I have just read off, our rollout has been completed, meaning that teachers have been, the curriculum has been shared with the appropriate teachers, and our targeted date for implementation is December 1st. For the science in kindergarten and grade 7, rollout will be completed by the second week of December, with full implementation by January 1st, when we come back from the holidays. That completes the final report for our curriculum writing and rollout plan. I also have a report on our new Power School distribution of our report cards, particularly for K-8, which is rather new in format. It is standards-based. We had a meeting of the report card committee after the first distribution for the first advisory on November 18th. In our committee meeting on last Wednesday, we discussed feedback from our users in the field and also from parents. We will continue to look at our report cards based on the feedback, and between now and the second distribution in February, we're going to take a look at some corrections and formatting. It will still be standards-based. However, we are going to convene an early childhood committee to take a look at the kindergarten report cards and validate that, and also teacher focus group to restructure and reformat to make it user-friendly and also customer-friendly. So we will have that new format completed by the second advisory report card period, which would be February the 10th. My last report is really to give the highlights that were shared at the Newark Public Schools Advisory Board meeting of 11/23 for Barringer High School. And I will share briefly those highlights and accomplishments thus far. We've had our facility inspection. We've done the scheduling review and also our personnel review, as well as security materials procurement review, and improved communication to parents via the Blackboard Connect. We've had daily reports from the regional superintendent at that time, Dr. Dale Talbert, since October 20th, that monitored school climate, materials and resources, security, safety, schedules. We looked at and talked about and we focused ourselves on the expectations for the Newark Public School staff that would provide an organized and effective instructional environment, providing order and safety for the school community, and a quick and effective response system to problems that may arise. We're continuing to monitor the teacher attendance, non-teacher staff attendance, and student attendance. Security staff has increased from 17 to 22 personnel. All 10th through 12th grade students have had their transcript and schedule audits completed. All special education students' IEPs and schedules have been audited. There's going to be a compensatory education plan being developed for all students whose schedules had been incomplete or incorrect. And Principal Shonda Davis continues to provide the effective leadership with her leadership team and Barringer teachers. There has been a newly appointed North Regional Superintendent, Dr. Miguel Hernandez, that was hired as of November 22nd, and supplemental security, food services, and instructional staff are to be maintained for this school year 2011. Dr. Janey, board members, that concludes the report from the Office of Academic Services.
So yeah, right now, yeah, okay. Thank you, Ms. White. Mr. Lewis?
Ms. White, I heard you talk about Barringer situation. You said that the 10th through 12th graders report cards, scheduling, and transcripts are completed as of today. What about the 9th graders?
Currently, the 9th graders attend Barringer 9 Success Academies. The 9th graders that are currently at Big Barringer are a very small number of students. I think they're the bilingual students, and it is understood that their transcripts have been audited as well.
And the special need children that was transferred to Barringer, you said that their transcripts have been audited, but as far as the placement, the scheduling, have that been completed as well?
All special education students' IEPs and schedules have been audited and corrected.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Thank you, Ms. White. Do you have a quick? Okay. Dr. James?
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Mr. McNair, you have the floor, and you have the honor of acknowledging one of the finest students in the Newark Public Schools and the state of New Jersey. Would you come forward, please?
Once again, thank you. I don't know if you're aware or not, we have one of our students who has received wide acclaim and many accolades for her academic performances, her community service, as well as her record as a national debater. This past summer, in the month of July, she had the honor and the privilege of meeting President Obama at the White House, along with 3 other debate students throughout the country. She's one of our senior students. She's ranked number 2 in her class. Some of the colleges she's looking at presently are Harvard, Boston University, Columbia, NYU, and she told me the last one, Georgetown. I would like to introduce her. Her favorite teacher is here, Ms. Duran, as well as her mother, who's also a University High School staff member. She's our senior student. She's sitting right over here. Where's she at? Yeah. Shagun Kugreja. She's being recognized today. She's being recognized today. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. In the month, it was September. She received an award from the Newark chapter of NAACP as a Student of the Year, as recognized by NAACP for Newark. So Shagun, this is for you. You've done a wonderful service not only to the school, but to your parents, to the rest of the city of Newark, as well as yourself. We thank you and we applaud you for all that you've done.
Mr. McNair, would you have the student be joined by her parents if they are here this evening?
Ms. Kugreja, please come up, please.
You know, only one thing I feel like I have to add, because I heard a very long list of very impressive universities, but somehow I didn't hear Duke University in that list. And I know we have strong guidance counselors here at university, but I'm really at a loss to know how one of the great universities in the history of humankind wasn't on that list.
But I
Which happens to
did,
be my alma mater, so I had
but
to
I
say
did hear Boston University.
Another round of applause for her, please. I mean, she is the embodiment of what we want to see coming out of our district. She's amazing. Okay. Dr. Janey, anything else? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Janey. The Vice Chair for our parent recognitions.
Good evening. No. We just celebrated the holidays. We have more holidays to come, a new year to come. Let's get into the spirit. Good evening. Much better. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that all of you are here tonight, because what it shows is that the thing that we want and know, that everybody has to play a part in terms of our children's success to compete globally. So we need everyone, not just the board, not just the principals, but the business people, the community people. But one of the most important components to this puzzle for our children's success is the parents. So we thank the parents for doing all they have done, for sticking with the children, for making sure they do what they need to do to be successful. And each day throughout the district, hundreds of parents are making a difference in our schools, supporting their children's academic successes by volunteering. The Newark Public School Advisory Board Community Relations Committee wishes to recognize and express its appreciation to those parents and community members who devote their time, share their talents, and resources with children, staff, administrators to improve the quality of our schools and the lives of our children. Each month, this board will continue to recognize parents, guardians who support our district-wide parental involvement program, consisting of activities focused on parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision-making, and community involvement. Nominated by the Child School Administration, we are proud to announce tonight's award recipients. From the Central and East Region, Vanessa Strange from American History High School. From the West Region, Penny Gilbert from University High. From the North Region, Luz Lopez from Luis Munoz Marin School. From the South Region, Eleanor Winbush from Hawthorne Avenue School. Congratulations, and thank you all so much.
Can Principal McNair, would you mind coming down? Well, he's right there. Here he is.
Other principals.
Oh, any other principals? Okay, thank you.